Hello and welcome to our Inside Out Athletics Spotlight interview series. I'm Carson Flake. Today, our interview spotlight is shining on men's basketball senior forward Liam Johnston. Johnston wrapped up his senior season this year with averaging 17 points per game. He's won 3 LEC titles in his time here at Keene State. And at the end of the last season, Johnston moved into more of a coaching / role model role and looks to continue building off that following this season. Liam, thanks so much for joining us here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good to see you here. And obviously, it was such a fun season to watch you guys this season. Obviously, didn't end up exactly the way that we've seen in the past necessarily, just with the LEC titles. But granted, I feel like you can't necessarily expect to win 4 straight as a person yourself. Obviously, they did it the year before, so they technically did. But honestly, it was still such a fun season to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a blast.
Heck yeah. Well, we'll jump right in here. You've played under 3 different head coaches in your time here. The last head coach you had for your last 2 years, how has that affected your career overall?
I think coming from my perspective, obviously, my uncle and my dad were coaches, and they brought me up that way, and like I got to see what it was in the sides of a coaching lens. Just being around 3 coaches in 4 years, I think it's taught me a lot about what I like in a coach and what I don't like in a coach per se. And I think going into my next career, getting into coaching, I think it's taught me a lot. Being around 3 different coaches that I have a tremendous amount of respect for, and Coach Kane, Coach Hastings, and Coach Enright, obviously, it's really taught me a lot about myself and about what I want to do in the future.
So I'm kind of curious, was there ever a time where you were thinking, obviously, with one coach leaving and a new one coming in, that happened twice. Was there a time where you're thinking to go somewhere else and there was a reason you might have stayed?
Definitely wasn't thinking about going anywhere else. Obviously, I'm from Keene. I grew up here. I went to high school here for 3 years before I went to prep school. My dad's from here. My mom moved here when she was in high school, and just being able to play in front of my parents, my grandparents, my sisters, that wasn't something that I was going to trade for anything. So I was going to stick around here no matter what. Obviously, I would have loved to play for one guy for 4 years, but that's just not how it happened. And I'm incredibly grateful for all 3 coaches that I had and all the assistants that I had as well.
For sure. So what overall effect has you staying close to home? How has that changed your career, but also who you are as a person?
Just being around all my friends from this town, and being around my parents, just like when I lived in the dorms here my first 2 years, just going home and doing laundry and my mom cooking food and stuff like that. It's nice when you have that kind of support, really local, really close to home, and then just being able to play in front of my dad mainly. Just that was a big part for me, and then obviously the in-state tuition here. I was looking at some high academic Division III private schools, and when those bills came in, when I got accepted, didn't looked a lot different than what Keene State did. And then obviously as a basketball sense, this was easily the best team that I came into.
For sure.
And we had a lot of success while I was here, so I wouldn't trade that for the world.
Yeah, so through all of your years, you kind of increased slowly but surely in total minutes and production. But then this year you got that role as a captain. So what did you take from those previous years into this year?
Yeah, I think for me, just being able to learn from mainly Jeff and Octavio, my first 2 and 3 years here, and see how they operated from a day-to-day basis, how they got the most out of guys. I think I really learned a lot from them in that sense. And then just being able to, keep that trajectory going. Obviously, we lost in the conference championship this year. We got a lot of returners back next year, and I think they're going to be really successful. And I hope that some of those guys learn some of those things that I learned from Jeff and Octavio from me, to keep that trajectory going, keep the program in a good path. And I have no doubt that that's what they're going to do.
For sure. So, like you mentioned, you guys lost in the conference tournament, but then you had the chance to play in the ECAC, but you and the other seniors elected not to play. What was your role like during that tournament?
Yeah, I was kind of basically you could call me an assistant coach. I was in practice, I wasn't practicing with the guys. I think all of us seniors were, on the same page of we got a lot of returners back, some guys who didn't play a lot of minutes. And as a coaching staff, they kind of wanted to see what those guys had and what they're going to look like going into next year. So I think us seniors were kind of aligned, to let those guys get some reps and have time to play together and learn each other's games. So I think, just being there and being in a position where I can, say I did a bunch of things playing Division III basketball. I know what it's like to be in a playoff atmosphere, and for those guys to be able to witness that and, learn from me and learn from my mistakes and learn from their mistakes. I think it was good for them and good for the group that they got coming back.
For sure. So we kind of talked a little bit before we got on the air about your next step as a person, professional, and as a coach. Talk to me about your time that you're going to spend at Regis.
Yeah, so I got the chance to be a graduate assistant at Regis College in Weston, Mass. Had an interview there last week and got offered the job, and I took the job. Still going through admissions and background check and stuff like that, but it's all looking good on that end. I'm really excited about it. Obviously, it's something. Division III GAs are a little different than Division I GAs. You get to, actually be on the floor and do like an assistant coach, which is really important for me. I really want to learn fast and be able to take what I've learned as a player and, transmit it to being a coach. And I think that, being around my uncle for my whole life and being able to see how he operated on a day-to-day basis, puts me in a good path to do that. And I think being able to get another degree is also something that that I was looking forward to, and I think that it's just going to help me become a better person and a bit better coach at the end of the day.
For sure. Well, thanks so much for your time. It was awesome watching you, at least the last 2 years when I was here, and then I'm sure it was a good time all 4 years.
Absolutely.
So good luck to you, and then obviously good luck to the rest of the team next season. You can keep up with this sport, basketball, and all other Owls sports at the athletics website, keenowls.com. That is keenowls.com. Thanks again, Liam.
Thank you.